And we are live. Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Eagle Eye Podcast, episode 2 of the year. Boy, lots and lots and lots to talk about. I hope you guys are excited. Oh, ladies, and yeah, like I said, a lot for us to talk about. Obviously, great result starting off the Clausura campaign. But before I jump into all of that, let's welcome my co-host, Mr. Dylan Jimenez.
Hey everybody, I'm back.
So we're back. We're live. Another podcast for you guys. For those of you who can't tune in live, of course, you guys now know we are officially on SoundCloud and iTunes. How amazing is that?
Oh man, it's just so excited. I remember you telling me that we were under review and everything, and one day I just had, let me check now, and then like boom, it's just like right there, and I just started flipping out, and my grandparents heard me screaming and everything. They're like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" And they're not soccer fans or nothing, but like they just wanted to listen to it just to like hear me talk about this stuff and everything. So they were kind of excited for me too, and everybody else is excited too, knowing that I'm doing something like this.
That is awesome, man. You actually were the one who broke the news to me. I submitted us for a review, and I didn't think they'd get back to us so quickly, but they did. And yeah, it's a great feeling knowing that we now have different ways to kind of spread the word and get more listeners and grow this community that we know is out there. It's just a matter of fact of getting everyone together, and hopefully we can be that thing. So, of course, lots to talk about on the podcast today. We have the arrival of both Jeremy Menes and Andres Ibargüen. Today, they got to Coapa. We also have to break down what happened in Querétaro. Well, we'll talk about the good, the ugly, and what we thought could possibly be better. And of course, we have a tough game going up against Pachuca this Saturday. So I think without further ado, let's jump right into it. Okay, so let's talk Querétaro versus America. Obviously, it was the first round of play for us, closing off the Clausura first round, and I think we were both adamant about going into this and getting a positive result. And at the end of the day, America wins 1-0. Um, what was your initial thoughts going into the game right before kickoff?
I was kind of excited once I seen the lineup. It was a pretty good strong lineup. I was just kind of upset to see Oribe wasn't in the starting 11 until you told me that he felt kind of sick, and that's why he was taken out of it. But I mean, no, it was a pretty good strong lineup. I felt good going into the game. I was excited. Obviously it was the first game of the Clausura. It was the opening game, and it was a good result overall. It was a good result, 1-0 win over Querétaro, and that's just what we needed to start off the season.
I couldn't agree more to that. So obviously we were the one of the last games. We were there with Santos too. We were the last game. So it was frustrating seeing all these Liga MX matches from Friday up to Sunday, and you just want to see your team play. And the lineup came out, and let's talk about the lineup. The lineup was initially what Miguel Herrera had said on I believe it was Friday. It was gonna be a 4-4-2. Um, Now that he changed it up right before the matchup started, it kind of seemed a little bit of a weird lineup, and I'll go into as to why in a little bit. But let's just go over with who played. It was Marchesín in goal. It was the back four of Paulo Aguilar. It was Bruno Valdez, Emmanuel Aguilera, and Carlos Vargas. In the midfield, we had Joe Benny Corona. We had William da Silva. On the flanks, it looked like it was going to be Renato Ibarra and Darwin Quintero. And up top, of course, we had the likes of Oribe Peralta and Henry Martin. Now, like you said, it was a strong lineup. It was a good lineup, especially due to the fact that we had both Edson Alvarez out and Guido Rodriguez out. So those two were kind of crucial and could have fit into the starting 11 easily. Now, the question is exactly what's going to happen when these players come back and exactly how we're going to incorporate the new signings. But I'll leave that for a little later. So, did the lineup seem a little bit weird to you? Because actually seeing them on the pitch, it seemed a bit different. It just there was no real shape for me.
Yeah, yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, whenever you were talking about the lineup and stuff like that, I'm looking at the lineup right now too. I still for scoring. Periodically throughout the match, I check about the average positioning each player has. I even post that about halftime too, and at the end of the game, on the Twitter page in case anybody's interested in seeing that. And yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it right now. It's kind of interesting to see because it just seems like Joe Corona and William da Silva are just right there alone in the midfield, and then you have the likes of, like you said, Renato Ribara, you got Darwin Quintero, you got Oribe Peralta, and you got Henry Martin, just like right there in the attacking third. And it almost seemed like it was just like a 4-2-4, which was kind of weird to me. But I mean, like you still had players like working back, tracking back, playing on the defense too as well. It really, it was kind of iffy at first, when we kind of saw, we weren't really holding possession that much, just like that. But it's just something that the players got to get used to. But who knows? Maybe this is just a one-time game, since we're getting Guido and Edson back. Maybe Miguel Herrera go back to that 4-4-2 like we talked about. I mean, it's just kind of up in the air right now to me a little bit.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think you mentioned that America was not holding possession for most of that first half, and I think it had to do because there was a huge, I mean, huge gap in that midfield. It looked like it was only Joe Benny Corona who was actually trying to cover that space. It seemed that William da Silva actually started floating and trying to cover and help Carlos Vargas out at times. So it looked like he was leaving that gap too. So it looked like there was no real midfield for America because Darwin um did not play on the wings, and which is why kind of William da Silva had to go that way because he had to fill in that gap, try to run into those spaces. And I think Joe Benny Corona was just left to kind of just fend for his own, which I mean was a bit unfair for the guy because I mean with a midfield like the one that Querétaro presented, of course they were gonna run circles around him. So there was a huge gap in the midfield, which is why at first America did not hold possession. Is why America started opted with going a little bit long with the balls, or trying to use and abuse the speed of both Darwin and Renato. And the reason why I say Darwin did not play in on the flanks is because you saw him very very close to Renato Ibarra the whole time. It looked like they were almost kind of clashing with each other because Darwin naturally likes to float off to the right, which is where Ibarra would go. And it was a bit frustrating seeing that there was no real midfield for America because of course, you know, you play against the likes of Tigres or Monterrey, if you leave such space, and they're gonna exploit you. And granted, Querétaro did what they could, but I think at the end of the day, America was able to capitalize on their defensive part.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. Especially like you said with I think you said William da Silva, helping out Carlos Vargas, which we kind of talked about too about halftime. Carlos Vargas just seemed kind of lost, but I mean he'll adjust. It's just him getting used to that position. Him having to be versatile. That's the only thing that concerned me. With going into this game with the lineup, can he play that left back position? And he really did. He did outstanding. He improved throughout the game. Because at the beginning, he looked kind of lost. He didn't really seem like comfortable there, but he ended up proving it that he can play that position.
Yeah, yeah. I think if you talk about three players that stood out in that game, it's definitely gonna be one for me was Carlos Vargas. Seeing him in that left back position, obviously not his natural position, has played there before. Looks like he's gonna be the one in charge now to hold down the fort in that section. I think another one, and this is someone that's been on everyone's lips lately, Henry Martin, um, or Henry Martin, as many people will say it. He had an absolutely amazing game. I mean, to score the only goal and a golazo at that, and not just to score a goal, but whoever saw this game saw that this kid brought it. This kid brought it. He was hungry. He was running up and down the pitch. Granted, he was a striker. Drifted out to left wing. because he saw that no one really was going to that section, but he was running up and down the field. There was times where Querétaro had America pinned back, and you saw Henry Martin trying to help out in the defense, chasing people down to our corner flag and getting the ball back. It was ridiculous the amount of effort that this guy put in, and it was absolutely amazing. And I've said it before, the kid looks hungry, and this is the type of players you want in your team. Someone who maybe is not qualified as the next biggest thing, but if he is hungry and if he wants it, I think under Miguel Herrera, I think we could see a great player come out of Henry Martin.
Yeah. You named two. Who was your third one too?
Um, you know what? I wanted to say Renato Ibarra. I mean, he had an absolutely great performance. I mean, he just looked like it was his game for most of the time. When he got the ball, he was able to get past one two defenders, run down the byline. It looked like Miguel Herrera instructed him like, the game plan for you, and go execute it, and he did it to perfection. So I think my top three players for that game is Carlos Vargas, Henry Martin, and Renato Ibarra.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'd agree with those two. Carlos Vargas and Henry Martin too. But I would have to probably pick William da Silva for me. Um, you know, Judging by his match rating, it was 6.3, which what isn't good compared to the rest of the team. Every just about everybody got over a 7.0 rating. But what I liked about William, is just his kind of like his movement on the pitch. He was kind of moving everywhere. Like you kind of mentioned, he helped Carlos too out a lot too whenever Carlos wasn't there. And so it's just that type of effort that I like to see, going forward from everybody.
Yeah, I think I even told you when you told me that you like what William Silva was doing, and I told you, yeah, he's doing a very good game, but he's doing it very quietly and effectively. And I think that is something William Silva brings to the table. I mean, he's not the type of midfielder that's gonna be flashy. He's gonna give you like a 30-yard pass, but he's gonna get down, he's gonna get dirty, he's gonna do the job. And granted, yeah, he played a very very good game, and I think it was unfortunate that he got that yellow card, which is one of the reasons why he was a candidate to leave the pitch. If not, then we might have seen him for a little bit longer. But um, I think yeah, he has earned every right for us to merit him today on the show, to congratulate him, because William da Silva has been a player that a lot of America fans have mixed emotions about. I think it's either you like him or you want him gone, and a lot of people want him gone. A lot of Americanistas want William da Silva to go. Um, I was granted I was on that boat a couple of times too. He hasn't been the best performer, but under Miguel Herrera, he looks to be a good player. I mean, we talked about it on the pod earlier. Um, that he was one of the key players for America's good start to the Apertura, and it was after that he got injured in Leon that really the team declined, and it wasn't the same without him. So I'm happy that the guy's performing well. If he can do so, then he's going to be a great asset to the team, because of course we got a lot of game time to roll around.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm all for William da Silva. Like you said, like he's effective, but he does it quietly. And he can get the job done. And I can't think of really anybody to take his place. If he were to leave, he's a great asset to the team. And if Miguel Herrera will continue to use him right, then he's going to thrive on the Miguel Herrera.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. Um, Yeah, I'm really not much more to add to that, but kudos to William and to Piojo, because he got it right on the day. Um, Granted, some of the tactics were a little bit like, well, what are we doing? But at the end of the day, we performed pretty well, and I think it was fair. And I think
Yeah,
the result was pretty fair.
yeah. I can agree to the result being fair. We got the win. We left with 3 points. Like we talked about, in a place where we don't perform. We usually would leave with a draw or a loss. I mean, so it's a good result overall. Considering the fact that these guys beat you twice in preseason and in last season too in the tournament. And so, it's a good result and it's a positive note to come out too, knowing that, that Tigres lost, Monterrey drew, and that you're already up there in the table early. And it's good for us to it's boosted confidence really. And it's a good result overall.
No, yeah, yeah, I can agree with that. I mean, 3 points. That's exactly what every team's going for. Like you said, very tough ground. America really doesn't really walk out of that stadium on a happy note, but it was the case on Sunday. I think now the team just got to roll with it, keep going with it, perform, and just keep going. I think you made a good point. Tigres lost to Puebla. Monterrey drew. Guadalajara also drew. Cruz Azul also drew. So I mean, there was a lot of results that kind of go into the favor of like, okay, things look good for us. What I think right now Santos is on top of the table because of the scoreline that they were able to beat Lobos WAP with. Um, but
Yeah,
really,
they got a goal differential too right now, so they're on the top right now.
yeah. So I mean, they're pretty high up there too. I mean, it's good for us. 3 points is always exactly what you want. It's exactly what you need too. So I mean, to get the result like that, and you just got to keep rolling with it. And I think that was the important part. So um, that I just let's talk about the goal. There's only one goal really. So I mean, it's not like it's we're gonna have to run through a lot, but um, the goal comes after I believe was it William da Silva, I think, steals the ball. No, excuse me. It was Renato who ran up, who was trying to run at the defense. It was then the defender who it looked like fouled Renato Ibarra, and then
Hmm.
Querétaro tried to get on the break. America wins the ball back. Querétaro's kind of a little bit out of place because they were trying to counterattack. They lose the ball. Ball gets played out to Darwin Quintero. Darwin Quintero then charges at the defense. At this point, many Americanistas think, what is he doing? I hope he doesn't mess this up. You see Henry Martin on the left, kind of just float away from his defender. You Darwin Quintero picks him out with a perfect ball, and then of course Henry Martin, one touch, lets the ball bounce one time and outside the 18-yard box, just rockets it past Thiago Volpe to what I think will probably be one of the best goals that we see Henry Martin score in an America jersey. So, initial reactions when you saw that goal in, what were your thoughts?
Man, I was watching the game. We had just finished eating, and so I just gave a big old scream like yes, like like I was finally glad to see us up.
Yeah.
Especially with such a not necessarily a poor half, but like like we said, like not keeping possession that good. Just to see something positive come out of the first half from us going into the half. But it was really good. It was a really good goal, and I was glad to see it. Especially coming from Henry Martin. Who we've said looked good in that preseason game against Toluca, and he's coming over now. He's gonna bring that form over probably from that game and right on it the whole season, hopefully.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like the kid's got talent. We know that much. It's just a matter of fact. It's just a matter that he stays healthy, and we can keep performing with him there. Um, it was a great goal. I think though the biggest part is that you saw an end product from Darwin Quintero. And that was pretty much it. That's all you really saw from the Colombian. That whole 90 minutes. Kind of speaks to you what's going on right now with the Darwin Quintero situation. I know America's trying to offload him. The only real option, I guess, was I think it was Millonarios from Colombia wanted to take him out, but on a loan. So America's not looking to loan him at the moment. I think they just either they're gonna stick with him or they're gonna try to sell him on and try to get at least some of the money back, which let's they paid a lot of money for him, and I doubt they're gonna get almost half of that back. So it should be interesting to see what happens with Quintero. He's a player that Piojo Herrera actually has confidence in. Why I to be honest I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what happens in training that actually brings Quintero to the starting lineup. So It's gonna be an interesting one. Of course, they got about until January 31st. January got 31 days.
This is my birthday month, and I don't even know. Yeah, 31 days. Yes, yes.
So America's got till January 31st to offload Daryl Quintero if they choose to do so. We'll have to wait and see. Yeah, and as each day goes by, I'm pretty sure something new will happen, and hopefully they can try to get some money out of him. So it's pretty much nothing else from the Colombian. We did get to see Matias Uribe, who came in and looked pretty good. I mean, he was a little sick. That's why he didn't start the match. But overall, I think everyone performed really well. There wasn't really one player that you thought, well, he should have performed better. Or actually, there is one player who I think was very quiet, and that was Oribe Peralta.
Yeah, I can agree with that. That's our captain. I want to hear the commentators scream his name as much as they can. I want him to stand out. This should be our guy that is leading the team. That is um somehow participating in the goal. And he just too far quiet in the game. Opening game. After he pinned that contract extension.
Yeah, so Oribe for until 2020. And he almost had his goal. Thiago Volpe with a very good save. Probably should have done better with his header. But that was pretty much it. You didn't see much from the captain. I mean, he ran like he always runs around the pitch, but I think I don't know if this is really gonna suit Peralta or not. We'll have to wait to see how Miguel Herrera wants to handle the situation with. Obviously, we know Peralta is gonna be in the starting 11 at all times when he's fit and ready. It's just gonna be interesting to see because at most of the time he was a lone striker, so that obviously doesn't suit him. I think he needs someone up there to kind of play off of him, and he can play off of that person as well. So we'll have to wait to see exactly what happens. But it's only one game. We can't really put too much pressure on it and say, well, is Oribe gonna not score or what? I think we just gotta give him time. He's gonna break his duck, and I think when he does so, I think we're gonna see an Oribe Peralta that is just gonna keep scoring goal after goal.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, one game, but like at the same time, you want to see your captain thrive too, But then again, you also got to think, man, Uribe has pressure about scoring, having to score for this team, and he never meets those expectations because they're so high for him. But now with Henry Martin and the new signings coming in, I don't see why he can't thrive even better and have a better tournament than he did the last one. Better than 6 goals.
Alrighty. Yeah, I agree with you. So let's hope for a better performance out of Oribe in the next game. Obviously, we're gonna be at home, and that should probably give him a little bit more incentive to do better. So, but overall, I think out of two thumbs, what do you classify Amnica's performance against Querétaro?
Whose performance?
No, just the whole team in general. Like
Oh, the whole team.
yeah.
Okay.
What do you say? Two thumbs up, one thumbs up. What's going on?
Um, if I can give a thumb and a half, probably give it a thumb and a half.
Okay,
Yeah, like let's just go like this.
just okay.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, there was a couple of chances, where you could have gone to possibly 3-0 up, but it's just the first game, like we said, this is the first game, but it's a good result overall. It's just that I feel like the game should end at 2-0 after you said about he was header, but it didn't, But I mean, yeah, I give it overall a good performance.
Alrighty, I will agree with you with that 1.5 thumbs. I'm kind of inclining just to the one thumb up, but I could see why. I think America could do better, and hopefully they will do better. Um, but I think we'll leave it at that. It was a decent performance, a good result, and who's gonna complain? 3 points in the bag, right? Perfect way to start the clausura. I guess now we'll shift into not the Pachuca game. I think let's talk transfer rumors. Last time we left this podcast, it was I asked you between Luke De Jong and Jeremy Menez if you could only have one of these players, who would it be? and your answer was Jeremy Menez. And it looks like I don't know if people will think that we're prophets after this. It looks like we only are gonna sign Jeremy Menez, and it looks like talks with De Jong are officially over. For the most part, the club has said they will not let the Dutch striker go during the January transfer window. If he was to leave, he would leave in the summer transfer window. What are your thoughts when you heard this that Luke De Jong is no longer going to be coming to the club?
Well, after I heard that, um, I kind of like, okay, this is just going to be put on the partnership of Henny Martin and Oliver Peralta partnership. And so I said, after seeing the game too, I was like, okay, I could see this working. It was kind of interesting to see how it kind of went out too, and the formation wise too, and everything. But I was kind of bummed a little bit, not being able to sign him. PSV not letting him go right now. But who knows? Maybe talks will pursue again in the summer, and it was kind of a little bummer too. I'd like to see another foreigner coming into the team possibly, and lead up there with Oribe too. It'd be kind of interesting to see that.
I know you said the partnership Henry Martin and Oribe Peralta. I know a lot of people are actually craving it after seeing such a good result come out of the Querétaro game, but it seems that America is still in looks of a striker, even though after Henry Martin's performances. Um, and it's funny because I was watching ESPN Deportes, and they asked the question is if the Henry Martin situation is working, why would it be that America is still looking for a striker to come in? And I think they said it well when it said, well, it's if it's working for someone else, then why wouldn't it work for you? We've seen Tigres use this method; it's worked for them. We've seen Monterrey do it; it's working for them, to some extent. So now it's that to the point where America says we need that foreign great striker that can score 10 plus goals a season. And I think America is pushing for that is because the teams that are surrounding them have done so, and they've gotten success out of it. So I think America's in the market still. It's clear that they're still looking for a striker. I think there was three players named um, that they were looking into. It was Dembaba, it was Jackson Martinez, and it was Mitrovic from Newcastle. So two of those players that I mentioned have played or are playing in the Chinese league, and of course one of them is playing in the Premier League. Um, Interesting question. What are your thoughts when I tell you Dembaba and Jackson Martinez are targets for America?
I've never heard Denver Ball. I'm just hearing about this now from you.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I've heard the one from Newcastle, Mitrovic, right?
Yeah,
Is
Mitrovic.
it, yeah, him and Jackson Martinez I heard about. So I don't know. Denver Ball's kind of up there in age, a little bit, in my opinion. And, I think Jackson Martinez is barely pushing his 30s, maybe 31. But I kind of much rather have Jackson Martinez at this point. Um, just because I think he's over a good player. Seeing him his time at Porto a little bit too as well. I know he did good with Porto too. Whenever he had a stint there, and him moving to the Chinese league, it's just you know it's something we don't know much about the Chinese league. I don't really know much about the Chinese league, or I kind of really forgot about this guy until I heard that America was linked to him. I was like, oh my gosh, like I didn't know Jackson Martinez was still kicking the ball around.
Yeah, yeah. Well, all you really got to know about the Chinese Super League is they pay enormous amount of cash for players that maybe don't deserve that much money, and the fact that one of their teams knocked us out in the FIFA Club World Cup not that long ago. So um, Jackson Martinez obviously would be a great addition, not because of his great extent in European football, but let's face it, he knows the league. And when he was in the Mexican league, he was tearing it up with Juarez. I mean, he was scoring goal after goal after goal with Juarez. Um, but he is getting up there in age, 31 years old. I mean, you're gonna get someone who is at the almost at the age as Ori Prata. I mean, it's thinking long term situation. Is this really? Are you really gonna spend so much cash, throw so much cash for this guy only to last you 3 seasons, like it doesn't seem like the right move. Of course, Nebaba would be even a worse move because he is older. And I think they interviewed him and he said he has no intentions of coming to Mexico and playing for America. So I think you can rule him out, but now I think it's between Mitrovic and Jackson Martinez. I'm inclined to go with Mitrovic, and I'll tell you why. Obviously, the guy is he's played at Newcastle. I think before he was playing in Belgium. I could be wrong, but I believe he was playing in Belgium. Um, haven't seen the best of him in Newcastle. He's had a spell, two spells in the Premier League, and one in the Championship. He's I don't know. He has potential. He was deemed like this great upcoming striker. Obviously, the one thing that has stopped him from becoming this great striker is his temper, his attitude. He's kind of a hothead. Um, which is one of the things that I'm kind of like, maybe we shouldn't sign him if he's gonna be another hothead. But he has the talent. He's only 23 years old, so I mean, you can get him for a pretty good deal, and if he can come tear up the league and grow, I mean, you have him for an X number amount of years, and he can easily become a legend if he comes here and asserts himself. So I mean, I'd be happy with Mitrovic. I'd also be happy with Jackson Martinez. But if you're telling me to lean one way, I think I'd go Mitrovic in this aspect.
Yeah. Okay. No, no, that's understandable. I just kind of picked Jackson Martinez because I don't really know nothing about Mitrovic, and Jackson Martinez was the only one that stood out to me because I know the player a little bit more than I do Mitrovic, and then you telling me about Demba Ba just now, I was like, oh, like yeah, I definitely picked Jackson Martinez.
Throwing names left and right.
Yeah,
But
but
here's the
no,
thing. No, go ahead, finish.
no, I'm just gonna say kind of repeat myself. Like, yeah, I mean, I understand like why you go Mitrovic, and it's kind of a understandable reason. How young he is. You're having him longer. You're having him in long term. You could possibly make profit off him than you probably would with Jackson Martinez. With Jackson Martinez, if he makes that move, it's probably his last big payday before he retires or goes to MLS or back to Colombia.
Yeah, it would be a situation. But here's the thing. I feel like at this point America is just panicking. And when America panics, they tend to buy, and they tend to buy the wrong player. Um, and we've seen it time and time again. And you know what? It'd be cool to just one day go and make a podcast of every single failed player that has ever come to America, because that is a long list. And I'm not gonna sit here and name those names at this point, but it it's just America right now at this point seems to me they are panicking because the De Jong deal just broke. It looked like it was a possibility. It looked like it was almost a done deal, and then they kind of just shatter America's dreams and say no, he's not leaving during the winter. You can have him in the summer if you want. And at this point, America's rushing. They're panicking, and when those two things come together, it does not always lead to the best things possible. And I mean, we can only hope that they do the right thing. But at this point, America just looks like they're rushing into it. They're just trying to get a big name, and at this point, I don't think they care who they want, because I mean, if people are throwing the name like Dem Baba out there, I mean, it just goes to show you America's panicking a little bit. They're looking, but are they really looking at the right people? And that's the worrisome part for me.
Yeah, no, no, yeah, I understand. It's panicking and when short amount of time, they just don't go together. And I know that from firsthand experience. Panicking and forgetting things whenever I need to leave to go back to college. I had to come back that following weekend just to come back and get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, like you said, the list goes on, man, and maybe we can set aside a separate time to do that. But something's got to give, man. Eventually, they either gotta learn from their mistakes, or they're just gonna repeat the same process, which obviously it looks like it's gonna happen, since they've done it multiple times. And so I mean, it's just I don't know. It's if I would, like I said, like I'd rather have Jackson Martinez. Like you said, the guy's experienced in the league and stuff like that. And I've known the play. I know the player more than any other two. So I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah. I mean,
it's just gotta play it smart, which I hope they do.
which we all hope they do. So I mean, knock on wood that America makes the right moves and they bring in that big name striker. But let me tell you this: do we need a big name striker in your opinion? Do you think that we are in need of a Jackson Martinez, or can the partnership of Henry Martin and Oribe Peralta really flourish?
I mean, I think it can work, but at the same time, like me and you've talked about, we've always talked about like the depth in the squad, and with Champions League floating around too. I mean, how much of the squad does Piojo possibly rotate? How many players are going to be playing on the weekend and then come about and play on that Tuesday or Wednesday, whichever days they play. So I mean, it's it's kind of really hard to say until like we actually see it go into effect. Like okay, like we're just gonna stick with Henry and Oribe, and they're gonna play week in week out. Oh, and y'all also gonna be playing the Champions League too. Like how fatigued are they gonna get? Or what if something happens and Henry Martin goes down with like a muscle strain and he's out for a month?
Yeah.
So I mean, like, there's really, to me, there's no really way to say like oh yeah, let's lean on the partnership, or like no, we need another big shame striker. I mean, it can go either way, but like there's risks to it both too as well. Like I mentioned, does Henry Uribe or possibly Jeremy Menez, what if they get hurt? Then we're only leaning on so many players, and then if they're like, well, they're panicking, are they gonna buy somebody reasonable, or are they gonna screw us over again?
Well, let's hope they do not. But it's funny that you speak about squad depth because it morphs perfectly into what I want to talk about next. Is the fact that if we do bring in another big name player, that is three signings, three big signings that come into Coapa. What does that mean for the youngsters, for the likes of, for example, Diego Lainez? Where does he fit in? I know this is something that the Univision broadcasters were talking about. Um, do you see Diego Lainez getting minutes with American if they do bring in that last big striker?
Well, first of all, before I answer your question, I want to know what's going through Piojo's head right now, because Piojo was the one that says I want more Mexican players on the team. Okay, so what I want to know is what Piojo's thinking right now. Like, is this guy having a say at all on who America is bringing in? So, like, I don't know. I mean, I'm excited for these signings, but I'm mind blown at the same time. I'm like, are you lying to us? Like, you don't want these Mexican players in your team no more? You just want to bring in some foreigners too? Like, I don't know. Like, this is me kind of ranting a little bit because, like, I'm just kind of upset. Here you got, one of the next big things that's going to come through Mexico, and you're just gonna you give him some chances too, despite him being in the U17 World Cup in the last tournament, and it's just, why would you do this to him? I mean, this guy was gonna thrive this season, and for him just to be in the U20s on the first week of the Clausura, I'm heavily disappointed. I'm absolutely upset. If you cannot tell right now, I'm absolutely upset that Piojo is over here saying, "Okay, let's bring these foreigners in, and Diego, you go back to the U20s." Like, like I don't know. Like, it disappoints me because like here we got this special kid, the special kid that we've talked about time and time again, and where is he gonna fit in? Just where? Tell me where.
Yeah, that's a good point. For those of you who didn't know this, Diego Lainez did not see any action for America in the bench because he was playing with the U20s. So him, Eduardo Diaz and Richie Marin were both sent to the U20s. Obviously the biggest name there is Diego Lainez, and the question is what is going to happen with Diego Lainez. I think a lot of Americanistas have lost focus in that because they are so excited with these big name signings and who are we going to bring in next. It's like, well, let's take a pause here. Now you said it. Piojo said he wants a Mexican core base, but the problem is, why are you bringing all these foreigners if you want all these Mexican base? Now, granted, in the draft, he brought two extra Mexicans, Henry Martin and Joe Benny Corona. Now, a lot of people will say Corona does not count as a Mexican as he has played for the United States, but with the way Tijuana registered him when he was younger, he officially counts as a Mexican, even though he plays for the United States. So the league sees him as a Mexican. So that's a plus. Um, but now you see, and you're like, well, now we're gonna get Menace, we're gonna get Ibargüen. It's like, well, if we're still trying to bring in a big name striker, that's another foreign player. Now add on top of that, you have Renato, Darwin, Marchesin, all these other players. You have more than you can take, and we're gonna see some of them go out into the tribunas, and it's gonna be a mess. It's gonna be the only good thing is, like you said, we have Conca Champions. We have plenty of space to kind of spread these foreign players out. But it's like, well, at the end of the day, who's the one that's actually getting hurt for this? And it's a player like Diego Lainez. Um, I hope that he can still find his way into this team. I think he can go toe to toe with some of these players if they give him the opportunity. At this point, if you ask me to choose between Linus and Cecilio Dominguez, I'm obviously gonna go with Diego Linus. I think he feels the colors. He knows what it is to play for America, and and you haven't really had a player like that, up top, because I mean you have the likes of Edson Alvarez, of course, but someone that can score you goals and be a constant threat, and I think that's what Diego Linus is. And I hope for the sakes of it, if Pio Herrera knows and can handle this, I hope that he can give him the time because he's looked fantastic. And granted, he didn't have that much playing time last tournament, and I think even when he did, some of the playing styles did not suit him, as to where he was not getting the ball that much. But he's a hungry kid. He's someone that I can see coming into this side and actually trying to prove himself. So I hope for the most part Diego Lainez can not only learn from all these great players that are going to be around him, but also can he actually, develop into the starting 11? And I hope for everyone's sake that the answer is yes, because like you said, he is not only the future for America, he's also the future for the Mexican national team. And if you have someone that can explode as big as he can, you have to take him in the right direction. And hopefully pushing him out to the under 20s is not the right thing to do. So, um, you know, we hope for the best for Diego Lainez. We hope that he can keep going, and I hope he can. I hope he can get into the starting 11. And when he does get the opportunities, to just take them, I want to see him pick up the ball and just run at defenders. I don't, he can take on two people and maybe lose it after the third one. But if he is running back and charging to try to get that ball, just to show passion, just to show that this shirt means more to him than anyone else, then I think we can be safe to say that Diego Lainez will find his way into the starting 11 soon.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel for him, 'cause this guy's like 2 years younger than me, and so like, I wanted to kind of know too what's going through his head, knowing that he broke through, like possibly like almost a year ago, it was 2017 that he broke through, and, and to him give him chances too last tournament, and we didn't see that many because he's obviously training with Mexico for the U17 World Cup. And him shining there too. It's like every time I'd read something about their game, it's his name that stood out because his name was almost in every paragraph that I read. It felt like, and so like I just want to know like what he's going through. What do you think about these signings? It just sucks for him. Like I'll keep saying that you got this amazing kid. He can do so much for the team, but now it's just looking at. He's falling back more into the roster because these big signings are coming in, and it just
Yeah,
sucks. It sucks.
yeah. I don't think we want to see a Diego Lainez fall through the cracks. That would be the worst thing to happen. But I mean, you kind of have to also understand that that it's a brand at the end of the day, what America is, and and a brand succeeds through their own success, which would in this case be titles, championships. And what makes you feel better, splashing the cash on experienced players that can get you there, or kind of just throwing all your fate at this 17-year-old kid that you don't know what could happen. And I get that. I get that aspect of America's thinking, but I
Mhm.
also want them to think and to know and be smart about this and handle him the right way. Obviously, he has a huge opportunity to learn from the likes of Menez, and to learn how to play the wing like Andres Ibargüen, and to move around. And I mean, he has a Peralta who has mentored him. Now he's gonna have the Frenchman, he's gonna have the Colombian, and he's gonna be able to grow his game from that. And I think I'm gonna be honest, and I'm pretty sure he's gonna have a quiet season. I think this last end going, I think after the World Cup we can start talking a little bit more about Diego Lainez fitting into this roster. But I think for the most part, I think he's gonna have a quiet season. It doesn't make me happy to say that, but I think that's gonna be the case for him. I just like I said, every time he gets an opportunity, take it. Just take each opportunity, and I hope he does that. Um it's also going to be a very very tough mental aspect to his game. Like you said, it'd be interesting to know what he's thinking about. I mean, if we had his phone number, it'd be great to have a little interview with him so we can kind of get his thoughts. But I think they're mainly going to be, well, what do I have to do now to get Piojo's attention, and what do I have to do? Because even though he might not be on Piojo's radar, he still has to keep playing and performing in the under 20s. Um, he still has to, try to better his game. He can't get sloppy. I think it's important for youngsters who are in teams like America, like Monterrey, like Tigres, who have all these big names ahead of them, to not get discouraged, but to, you know, use it as a motivation. You have all these players, learn from them and try to outgrow them. You have so much more youth and drive than they can have. Take it, use it. And I think Diego Lainez, if he is smart enough, he will know that. And hopefully he has the right people around him to kind of wrap that mentality around him and say, well, if you're not going to be the first choice, well, it's okay. Remember, you're young enough. You're going to be there longer than them, and just learn from them, grow your game. And at the end of the day, you're going to be the better player for it.
Yeah, yeah, no, no, I agree. Yeah, but he'll keep playing, despite it being with the U20s, because he's got to grow his great game somehow.
Yeah.
And it's just like you said, we'll talk about later in the year, about his playing time, in the upcoming season and everything like that. But like what I was kind of thinking too is it wouldn't be too much of a surprise if I think by the time the season starts or pretty close to season start, he'll be 18. I wouldn't be too surprised, if a European country possibly push maybe for a loan move for him, because like we've seen the likes of like Aspiricueta, I know he was about 18, 19 whenever he went on loan at Villarreal, and I guess it didn't work out or whatever. He came back to Tigres and now he's on. Oh, I think with San Luis. I think I'm not too for sure where he's at right now. But I mean, like you look at Uriel Antuna and Omar Govea.
Yeah.
These guys never set foot in the first team, and just for them to make the move to Europe, so early in their career, it's a great sign. So I wouldn't be too surprised, maybe Diego goes out on loan somewhere. But if not, I would like to see his chances increase as he grows and um, goes forward with his career.
Yeah, could you imagine that? Omar Govea, one of America's biggest talents. Imagine having him on the pitch. That'd be actually pretty cool. Unfortunately, like he slips through the cracks. Fortunately for him, he's able to pick up his game and go to Porto. Um, Now over there in Belgium, doing wonderful things. Um, But yeah, I mean, we can hope for the best of Diego Lainez, and like I said, it's not gonna be the first time not gonna be the last time we talk about him. Hopefully, next time we do, it's for better terms than what we're actually saying right now. But you know, I think we'll leave it there. I think Diego Lainez, we wish him the best of luck. Hopefully, he can get into the starting 11. If not, just the bench. I mean, come off the bench and take every opportunity you get. So I think um, I think it's gonna be a little rough for him, but I mean, at the same time, he's gonna have these great players to learn from. So hopefully, he can take that to an advantage, and hopefully, he can grow from that. So. Um, Pretty much that covers the signings. Jeremy Menez just arrived, I think about an hour or two ago to Mexico City. Obviously, Andres Ibargüen got there earlier in the day. He was able to watch and see how everyone trains. Um, I know you said you're excited about these. Everyone is excited about these players. Um, it looks like they will not be ready until probably the tercera jornada, which means they won't see any playing time until the Clásico Capitolino.
Okay, yeah, yeah. I mean, like you said, still gotta go through physical. Still gotta train, see where the fitness is and everything. It'd be interesting to see if both of them will end up on the bench, or if one starts, other one on the bench. It'd be kind of interesting how Miguel Ahead places them going into that game. Which is it's still kind of it's still kind of far off. We don't want to get too ahead of ourselves. Take it game by game.
Yeah,
Because at the end of the day, it's the team finishing and making it into the Liga. As we set the expectations for them to. I believe we said about top 5, top 4.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, so game by game, whenever the time gets there, we get there, and we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that too.
Sounds good to me. Sounds good to me. So we can both agree we're excited. It should be great additions. Hopefully, we can get one last big name. But if not, I think we're both happy with the signings. I think we're both happy with the team, and we could see ourselves challenging the likes of Tigres and Monterrey. And you mentioned it. We're gonna take things game by game. And talking about game by game, America's next game is gonna be against Pachuca. So the second jornada starts for us on Saturday. Game actually got changed, so officially it was gonna be at 7 o'clock Mexico. I mean, excuse me, 9 o'clock Mexico City time, which is your time, Central Time. They have moved it to 5 o'clock Central Time, which means that the game is now going to be a little bit earlier. Um, to be honest, I didn't read into why they moved the game. And I just know that they did. Um, it doesn't really matter. I think America played better when they played at 3 o'clock, but that's neither here nor there. But so now we have Pachuca. Uh, how about we sit down? Let's preview this game and let's talk. What can we expect from America at home against Pachuca? What are your initial thoughts going into this game?
Well, I kind of watched the Pachuca Pumas game a little bit whenever they played. I didn't know I was getting it again on TV because I only get Univision,
Mhm.
and so seeing them go 2-0 up Pachuca, and then just to lose that over silly mistakes, mistakes that shouldn't have been made on this team, it kind of excites me, but at the same time, it's just we can't take these guys easily. We can't take no team actually easy, and so this game can go either way in my opinion. We can possibly see a win, we could possibly see a draw, we could possibly see a loss, but we want the win, and seeing Henry Martin score that goal, hopefully get some boost, and the team like, hey, we can score goals, ended our goal drought. It's just finishing our chances more.
Yeah, yeah. So obviously, we got to see that Pachuca and Pumas game, and we actually got a preview of both of our upcoming rivals. So, that was nice to see them go at it. But like you said, Pachuca looked good until their mistakes came, and it's going to be interesting how they can overcome those mistakes when they come to the Azteca. and whether or not they'll be confident, or will those mistakes be playing in the back of their mind. Obviously, America is coming in as favorites, but that doesn't guarantee you nothing. Um, Whenever America plays against Pachuca, I always have this nervy feeling, because Pachuca is one of those teams that, for the love of God, we have always had a difficult time beating them at times. I mean, from the time we lost the 2007 final to them, to when we were trying to get into the playoffs with La Volpe, we couldn't even win against them. So it's difficult. It's a very mixed emotions when we do play against Pachuca, because we don't sometimes have the best of results against them. But I'm hoping that Piojo gets all his pieces right once again, and we can play against them just the way that Pumas played against them, and kind of just capitalize on their defensive mistakes. They're not the most toughest Pachuca that's ever played, and I think we can use that to our advantage, and maybe hopefully get a pretty solid victory. It's not gonna be easy, of course, because Pachuca never makes it easy for America, but I'm hoping for a pretty decent result.
One thing I kind of want to mention that we kind of didn't mention whenever we were recapping Sunday's game is that we kind of looked pretty dangerous on counterattacks. Whenever Querétaro would get the ball away, we look pretty good on counterattacks. So if Pachuca happens to make mistakes again, it could be easy goal. On those counterattacks, us looking good. Whether depending on how we catch them, like I said, we look good on the counterattacks. I don't see why we can't score about 2 goals this game, 3 goals this game possibly.
Yeah, I mean, this game could paint easily for a goal central game in respects to that, but it's just I'm worried that Pachuca is not gonna go and kind of go for the game. Granted, they were at home, so they kind of had more of a liberty to go find the game. Um, we're at home this time. Now we have the pressure to go and attack them. We'll have to wait to see how they defend, how what their lineup's gonna be like, how they're gonna their tactics and everything. But I think for the most part, I think we're gonna see a very conservative Pachuca, a Pachuca that is going to try to hold the ball as much as possible. And when America does get it, they are going to sit back and try to defend all spaces. So it's going to be interesting, and it's going to be very important to have a Renato Ibarra or whoever plays on the other wing, if we do end up playing a 4-4-2, someone who is very versatile and someone who can break through those types of defenses, so we can have the likes of Henry Martin, Ori Peralta in the box, ready to attack. And I think if we can break through that and we can get the first goal, we obviously push Pachuca to try to go after the game, which means then of course we can do counterattack central and just kind of run them over whenever we do get the opportunity. So I think the most important part is going to have to be to break that Pachuca defense, because my belief is that they are going to go in there and they're going to try to just sit back a little bit, hold off on really attacking America, and kind of just be a little conservative. Obviously, a point is a great result for Pachuca, and America is going to be looking for all three. So I think it should be a very fun game to watch, especially for those people who enjoy to watch for the tactical aspect of everything. But that the regular fan too will get a good enjoyment, because I think there's going to be a lot of action going on in the pitch as well.
Yeah, no, I can agree. It's gonna be kind of a conservative game for Pachuca. So we're just gonna have to break through no matter what. But the counter attacks is what's gonna be key in my opinion. And if Pachuca were to make those same mistakes again, one player that we have to point out that we kind of have to watch for probably would be Honda. Honda had a pretty good game against Pumas. So if we can lock down Honda, I think we'll be okay. Nobody else really stood out to me. I probably missed it because I didn't realize that the game was on until after about the 35th minute when they were already 2-0 up. And that's whenever I kind of saw them already starting to break down and everything like that. But I mean, other than that, Honda sticks out to me. Goot didn't have that much of a game. So I mean, if we can lock down Honda, I think we'll be pretty solid. And just having to break through that defense. With whoever's on the wings. Giving Oribe and Henry Martin a chance to go up for a header, or whether it be on the counterattacks.
Yeah. Hopefully we can actually get that going. So just quick thought. What do you think your starting 11 is going to be?
It's kind of hard to. to really say right now because you're gonna get Edson and Guido back. How do you incorporate Edson and Guido in this? So, obviously Marchesín in goal. Bar Aguilar back on the right back. Um, I would give Aguilera another shot at center back.
Okay.
I'd give Aguilera another shot. I it's just kind of hard now to pick between if do you want to see Edson or do you want to see Bruno Valdez again? That's just where I'm kind of stuck on the fence right now. Obviously, I would like to see Carlos Vargas again at left back. Oribe. I like to see Oribe Guido midfield in the defensive mids. Um, Probably Renato Ivara again. I'd rather have Darwin coming off the bench in case anything happens. Um, Maybe William da Silva again on the left, and then obviously Henry Martin and Oribe Pelata up
Up
front.
top. So
Yeah,
who
up
were
top.
your defensive mids?
Oribe, no, not Oribe.
Oh, Uribe and Guido.
Yeah, yeah, Oribe
Okay.
and Grillo, yeah.
Okay. So that's and I'm think pretty much close to what I'm thinking. Yeah, March and goal, Paul. I'm granted. This is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it's gonna be Marche, Paul, Bruno, Aguilera, and Vargas, and then we're gonna see in the defensive midfield Guido and Edson, and then we're gonna see the likes of Renato Ibarra and Mateus Uribe. I think Mateus Uribe is gonna be playing out on the wing. Um, Up top, obviously Henry Martin and Oribe Peralta. Now, funny, let's see who's gonna be on the bench. I know this is a long shot, but I think maybe one of our two stellar signings is gonna be on that bench.
All ready for this game?
Yep, yep. I think they won't see any action, but they will be on the bench.
Okay, yeah, I could possibly see that. Yeah, yeah. I
And the only thing
mean,
why is because we even talk about this, which is kind of weird, but when we're talking about transfers, but Silva Romero is almost a done deal for River Plate, and it looks like
mhm,
he's gonna be leaving.
yeah, I think it was about 5.5 million. I think
Yeah, yeah,
that's
somewhere around there.
yeah, somewhere around there. Yeah, but it's possible that he goes. Maybe he'll be gone by before the game.
Yeah, I mean, which means it would leave an extra space, which I'm pretty sure one of those two players would fill in that space.
Or
But
Diego Lainez.
or Diego Lainez, that'd be nice. That would be
That
nice.
would be nice. Yeah.
It would be nice to see a Diego Lainez come in off the bench. But I think that's a pretty solid lineup. I think whether yours or mine goes up, I think it's gonna be pretty good. I think it is gonna be a 4-4-2. I think me and you both can agree on that. I think at the end of the day, though, it's just let's get the result and let's push for it and hopefully have a good game.
Yeah, 4-4-2, dude. I mean, I'd be surprised if it's a 5-3-2. That'd be kind of weird to see.
Although,
I
do
don't
not count
see.
that out.
Yeah, but I wouldn't necessarily count it out, but I'd be kind of surprised to see it.
And I'll tell you why is because Edson's back, which means that Edson can easily fill into that third center back role, and means Guido is the only center defensive mid, while the two center mids, quote unquote, would be Renato Ibarra and William da Silva, which plays more to William da Silva's role. So don't be surprised if you see that because I can guarantee you it's a very high possibility.
Yeah, then I guess Carlos Vargas will play that left wing back. I'm
Yeah,
guessing.
yeah.
Yeah,
He likes going up, so I mean he
yeah. He pushed up a pretty good amount of times in the Querétaro game. Yeah, so
yeah, yeah. So I mean it could easily be a 5-3-2 people. Do not count that out. If it is, let's just hope we can still be very offensive. But like I said, hopefully it's a 4-4-2. I think that's more of a balanced role. I think that's what suits most of the players in that squad. And let's just hope for an Oribe Peralta goal.
yeah, we want to see something from him, our captain.
Our captain, oh captain, my captain. Let's hope for a good goal, a good match, and I don't care if the goal's scrappy. Um, predictions. What is your prediction for the game on Saturday?
I'll go 2-0. Win.
0.
America win. 2-0.
I'm going bold, and I'm gonna say it is gonna be a 4-1. America wins. I know a lot of people think this guy's crazy, but I don't know. Something's telling me. Something tells me there's gonna be goals in the Azteca, and I just hope for the most part it's all America's goals.
Yeah. But no, I'm depending on the counter. Like we said, with Pachuca making the mistakes. I'm pretty sure I can kind of see a 4-goal game for America Saturday.
You know what? That goes all against what I was saying earlier with Pachuca coming in, being conservative, not being easy to break down. But you know what? I'm still sticking with it. It's 4-1. We're going to see it happen. And we're going to be back next Tuesday. We're going to be celebrating 2 goals from Maria Peralta.
Yeah, 2 goals. We'll get that brace.
Get that brace. That'd be absolutely amazing. So that wraps up the preview for the Pachuca game. I hope you guys are excited. I know I am. The league's back. Soccer's back for us. It should be a crazy, amazing time, hopefully for us Americanistas. And the sooner we can get those players on the pitch, the star-stellar signings, and the better it is for us. So a lot of stuff going on, and we'll keep you guys as updated as possible. Make sure you guys follow our Twitter handle, whether it is mine or Dylan's. I've left those in the description down below. And also follow us on our Eagle Eye Podcast Twitter page. That's where we keep most of the news going on. We let you guys know updates about the podcast, anything that is in regards to the Aguilas and what their movements are or anything. And yeah, guess what? We also live tweet some of the matches. We're going to try to do that as much as possible. I know I had first half in the Querétaro game. You had the second half. So, you guys get to get a feel of, how it is that we're going to manage these things. But make sure you guys follow because there is a lot of stuff happening. And, make sure you guys do follow because we keep you guys updated with all the latest podcasts that comes out on SoundCloud and iTunes. And, yeah, just make sure you guys don't miss out on that. So go down, follow us, and, help us grow this bigger community that is the Aguilas English community. So, is there anything more you want to add, Dylan?
America wise, no. But other than my rant I told you about before we started, just that. I mean, I don't America wise, no. I mean, I don't want to add nothing else besides my rant.
Okay. Alrighty. So I'm gonna leave. I'll leave the floor to you, Mr. Dylan. I know you got something that you want to address to the public. As you guys know, we do cover not only just American news, but also L3 news. And of course, the world's been shaken by this latest news that's come out. But I'll let Dylan explain everything that. So take it away. The floor is yours.
All right, guys. So Jonathan Gonzalez, the 18-year-old midfielder that plays for Monterrey, recently came out saying that he's switching sides. You're going to play for Mexico, El Tri, who we cover. And obviously, you can tell my flag over here. And not play for the United States, as he's been playing with the United States since he was a youth. Well, I'm pretty mad and kind of upset with everybody on Twitter who goes about and decides to diss Jonathan Gonzalez. Because I've seen plenty of fans who support the United States and say, oh, we've done so much for you. You were born here. And going on, being a little racist. It makes me mad. It frustrates me, dude. It's just out of line. Because first off, we had Jesse Gonzalez bagged up. This guy was all set. Oh, I'm going to play for Mexico. I don't want nothing to do with the United States. And then you start hearing reports around the Gold Cup time. Oh, Jesse Gonzalez is going to make his one-time foul switch, And, I was kind of hurt, as a Mexico fan. But at the same time, I support Jesse, because I'm also an FC Dallas fan because, I'm from Texas.
Yeah.
And Dallas is the closest city to me. And so I support Dallas. And so, I was hurt at the same time, glad for him, There were kind of a few Mexico fans too as well. We were upset about that, but they were more saying we got to push to have Jonathan Gonzalez now. They weren't dissing Jesse, nothing. They were upset about it. Like I said, I was upset about it too, but nobody was dissing Jesse about it. And so now we see all these United States fans coming to Gonzalez and say, "Oh, how could you do this to us? You know, you were born in the States. You know, you're an American. You're not Mexican, stuff like that." And you know, this guy decides, you know, I think he kind of from California, but I can't remember what city. I thought I remembered the city, but I don't. And so now, you know, this guy growing up into the youth system in the United States, you know, just you can say the same about Jesse. Jesse was with the Mexico youth teams all pretty much all his whole life until it came down to the senior team. You know, that's whenever he decided I'm gonna play for the United States. You know, I want to be the American. You know, that's fine. You know, obviously, you know, we're gonna have problems here pretty soon, possibly, you know, in the goalkeeper position, you know, with Jesus Corona being possibly, you know, if he decides to retire from the national team, at least, you know, he's about 37, 38. And then, you know, we still got Ochoa. Ochoa is still pretty young for a goalkeeper. You know, pretty soon we're going to have the second spot and the third spot open. I don't know. I would have liked to see Jesse there, but, you know, we lost him. And so now, you know, I see these tweets, and I got some tweets pulled up that I want to read to y'all. You know,
Okay.
yeah, that the United States Federation reached out to Jonathan Gonzalez multiple times over the last month, and it called him up for the January camp, even though there was no change of him being released. And so the United States men's team never heard back from him. You know, we've seen Nico Cantor, you know, he does the Liga MX matches in English on
Yep.
Facebook Live. Yeah, and he said Jonathan Gonzalez choosing to play for Mexico, play for El Tri is solely U.S. soccer's fault and a consequence of Federation's political limbo and USMT's uncertain future. It's a huge blow for the U.S. and a solid pickup for Mexico, stealing a key player from their rival and picking up a promising center defensive mid. And you know, and there's a couple more. This one stood out to me a lot too. Jonathan Gonzalez is likely left for one of three reasons. He is opportunistic in the World Cup year. He has always wanted to play for Mexico and use the U.S. Youth teams to help him along until the call came. Or he's a pollutant child who is upset over not being called up by a useless friendly. How I don't understand how the Portugal game could be a useless friendly. There was your chance to cap tie this guy and say, okay, he's going to be an American. He's going to play for the United States. That was not a useless friendly. For the fans that say that the Portugal game was useless, it was not. That was your chance to cap tie this guy and keep him to play for the United States. But you know what? Nobody wanted to call him up. He even came out.
Wait, I'm gonna stop you there. I'm gonna stop you there because they did want to call him up. The only reason why he did not get called up was because Monterrey did not allow them. They talked to the federation.
No, he later came back out and said that he never got a call. He never got a call. Yeah, he never got a call. He came back and said that he never got a call for that camp. And I mean, even if he did, you know, Monterrey probably would have said, you know, they probably wouldn't let him go, you know. But like I said, you know, they didn't call him up. They're blaming it on a useless game and on the federation, you know, with all this mumbo jumbo that's going on, saying with presidential candidates trying to be elected and stuff like that. But for what? I mean, that's their fault, you know. What just kind of like what makes me rant so a little bit too is how much disrespect he's getting, how much he's getting like hated on right now by United States fans. I mean, like, you got Jesse, you know, we'll take Jonathan Gonzalez. I mean, I think it's a pretty fair deal in the trade a little bit, not necessarily a trade, but like, hey, I mean, you take one that was with our youth teams, and we'll take one that's from your youth teams. I mean, come on now. I mean, like, I don't know. And then like him just kind of not responding to them too as well. You know, they've treated him right and everything, and then just these past few months, you know, not getting the call for the Portugal game and everything. So, I mean, that's the United States' fault. And so it looks like he's going to get a call up whenever it comes to the Bosnia game in San Antonio here, which excites me, you know, because I would give Jonathan Gonzalez about a 20% chance of possibly making this World Cup, making the rest of this World Cup. You know, it's not a lot, but hey, you know, this guy's seeing like, okay, this is true. Like, the Mexico team is what's going in the right direction. Right now, you know, I'm kind of confused with all this, you know, United States soccer news, you know, with all these presidential candidates trying to trying to campaign themselves to be the president of U.S. soccer, stuff like that. The United States obviously not in the World Cup. Losing their chance on calling um, Jonathan Gonzalez up for that Portugal game. So I mean, like, it's a mess right now. Who would want to be in that mess right now? And so it's easier. Because I mean, to me, this guy is Mexican American. His parents are Mexican. They're from Mexico, but he was born in the States. And to me, whatever this guy feels is right for him, then he knows in his heart, because that's where he wants to do. That's where he wants to play. But at the end of the day, too, it can also just be a business decision. Because that's all it is nowadays, is business decisions too, when the sports world.
Yeah, I'll add on a little bit more to what's going on with your rant. I have seen a lot of backlash towards the guy. And like you said, poor guy. He did not choose to be in this position. He kind of was forced to at the end of the day. His it looked like his objective was to go to the United States. Whatever reason, I don't know. We for time now, it seems that the U.S. soccer has not gotten themselves a hold of. I mean, perfect example, Jesse Gonzalez. It took them forever to cap him. And when that Gold Cup situation came out that Jesse Gonzalez was going to be called up, guess what? He didn't get called up. He was never capped. It took several months after that shenanigan for him to get capped. Um, Granted, like you said, Jesse Gonzalez was one of the bright future goalkeepers. He was one of my favorites coming into the new goalkeeper era, whenever that time may be coming. Um, and he leaves and he goes his way, and granted, that's fine. Each player has the right to do what he wants to do. um and I think people understood that. And I think now with this whole Jesse Gonzalez situation is, I think it's a little bit more sensitive in the fact that here is a very bright young kid who has the potential to increase the level of play. Because if you think about it, the United States has the likes of Christian Pulisic. They have the likes of God, I can't even remember. He scored a freaking amazing goal this weekend against Arsenal in the FA Cup. They have the talent there. They have the talent there, and Jesse Gonzalez would have added to that. Um, I think they did not manage this correctly. I think I think this is only their own doing, like you said. And just Jonathan Gonzalez was smart enough to think, well, if I'm not going to get my opportunity here, I have the best opportunity to go here to the Mexican national team and get a call up and get a good opportunity to go to the World Cup. But if not, then I still am going to be a very vital key to the process going into the next World Cup. And I think you have to see it, like you said, nowadays it's a decision that are made solely based on what what will the player profit from of. And he is gonna profit from playing in the Mexican national team because he is familiar with the league. He is familiar with the culture, and he is familiar with kind of what is going to be asked of him because he is surrounded by the media. He knows exactly what goes on. He sees it day in and day out, especially when the national team is on the news. So he has an aspect and he has a comprehensiveness that says, well, I know what I'm getting myself into. Let's go for it. And of course, his family is from Mexico. It's sad that maybe that people are using the birthplace card that what right gives you to go play for Mexico if you were born here in the United States. You are an American and you should use that privilege. It's one thing to be a citizen of a country, and it's another thing to go play for a team country. He may feel the stars and the stripes underneath his skin, but if it career wise, if the Mexican national team is calling you and you like it and you want to go for it, then do it. And I'm happy for the guy because he's taking a very firm decision. He's going for it, and I think he's a smart, stable kid. And I think he can definitely, like you said, he has a 20% chance to get into this roster. And I would see that. The only thing that I'm worried about is because he's going to be giving Edson Alvarez competition in that center defensive mid role. But that's for another day to discuss. But I like him. I like him. And I think it's, kudos for him. Good job. You know, uh, and not really much more to say, but I mean, for those US soccer fans that are, talking all this stuff and being a little bit harsh to the guy, then just tone it down a little bit. You guys still have plenty of talent. It's gonna be up to you guys to develop it, and thank God we're not a U.S. focused podcast because there's a lot that we can go into and dive about what's wrong soccer wise here in the United States. But it's not to say Mexico's perfect either. But at least in that sense, the federation had known that they want this player. They were always lurking in the background, and the opportunity came. And now we're a little bit better because of it. So um, I think you're right. I think people should tone it down. They don't really have much right to say he did the right decision or he didn't. And I just think at the end of the day, um, you know, one party will feel favored a little bit more than the other, but it's soccer. That's the way the game goes. It's always a competition, whether it's trying to sign a player or whether it's trying to beat the team on the pitch. And this one, you got to give it to Mexico.
Yeah, I mean, I even have the tweet here that I saw that Mr. Matthew Doyle on Twitter. He got this from Told Soccer America. It says I was not called in November. Gonzalez told Soccer America last month. Personally, nobody came and talked to me and let me know about that friendly. I just wasn't called in. And you had the chance right there. They had the chance, but like I said, they didn't take it.
Yeah, yeah, and like you said, that's their own doing. Um, whatever reason they have, I mean, that the U.S. soccer is, like you said, a mess right now, with presidential elections, with them missing out on the World Cup, what the financial repercussions going to be for that exactly. What are they doing? What are they doing moving forward? Their players aging, the core base of that squad, everything really that is going on. It's a little bit of a mess. We can only hope that they fix it because, of course, you want your biggest rival to be competing and making you better. And at this point, they weren't in the position to firmly, call him up, and that they knew the risk. I'm pretty sure they knew the risk. They took it. And now you see what happens because of it.
I want, it kind of makes me think too. I wonder if Cesar Montes had any role in this. Since they're both in Monterrey. Cesar playing with the Mexico squad in the Gold Cup. I wonder if he had any influence on this guy, on Jonathan Gonzalez too as well.
I'm pretty sure, I mean, they're buddies and be like, hey, it's like, come over here.
Yeah, I know. Montes too tweeted out at Jonathan Gonzalez,
Yeah.
about this too, and then the Monterrey Twitter page, I even asked him too, and he came out saying something like, if the Mexican national teams consider me, I'm all for playing for the colors of the flag.
Yeah.
This guy wants to play for Mexico. He's going to be a great asset. And especially with the center defensive mid position kind of up in the air.
Yeah, he's definitely gonna be an asset. Hopefully, I just wish America would splash the cash and get him. That'd be
Yeah.
nice. But I really don't see Monterrey selling their player to America. But yeah, he's gonna be a great asset. Obviously, he has Cesar Montes and a couple of other people that are probably telling them, Mexican national team, probably is the way to go. You have Turco Mohamed, who I know probably, he said he's not going to get involved and tell the kid what to do, but I'm pretty sure Jonathan Gonzalez, went up to him and asked him for advice. And I'm pretty sure Turco told him, well, you know what, the best option is for you at this point. It looks like it's Mexico. Um, I think he has the media influencing him wherever it is that he lives, his family, his friends. I mean, so many reasons to choose Mexico. Um, Eventually they all weighed in, and now we see a uh, a Jonathan Gonzalez that it could potentially be wearing that green jersey.
Right? Yeah. I mean, it was just a little rant. It wasn't really. It was mostly talking to the people that are just like dissing him. Giving him such harsh feedback. To just quiet down, man. I mean, y'all have Jesse.
Yeah.
Just give us Jonathan. Y'all have Jesse. Give us Jonathan.
Talking all wild and spicy on Twitter, but I mean, yeah, it is what it is. Um, I mean, you're always gonna have people like that. You get it. They're upset. Um, Granted, there should be a different way to show your emotions than to start backlashing on the poor guy. Um, but the kid's got his head on screwed right. I think this won't really affect the guy as much. Um, and hopefully he can just keep enjoying playing his game and um, you know, we'll have to wait to see what his performance is like in the Mexican national team.
Yeah, which we're hoping to see come the Bosnia game.
Yeah, yeah. Obviously, Bosnia game's coming up close. I think 3 weeks from now, right?
3 weeks from tomorrow. I know it's on a Wednesday.
Wow, amazing. We have our first Liga MX match coming up soon. I believe you said you're going to that, aren't you?
Which one?
The Bosnia game?
No. I'm not going to the Bosnia game. I'll be going to them playing Arlington.
Ah, okay.
Opponent has not. Yeah, that opponent has not been announced yet.
Okay. Well, still we're gonna have you guys covered up for that game as well. Against the Bosnia game. Of course, 3 weeks now from tomorrow. So, hold on to your hats. It should be an interesting one. Obviously when the list of the squad is announced, we'll definitely have our reaction to that. I think that pretty much wraps it up for today's show. I know it's a little longer than usual, and we're just happy to be able to talk to you guys. Hopefully you guys are happy to be able to listen to us. Make sure to check us out on Twitter. They will be in the descriptions, in the show notes, as well as in the comment section down below. Remember, guys, we're here Tuesdays unless said otherwise. Again, another reason to follow the podcast Twitter handle. So we're excited for the Liga MX. It's back. We got 3 points. Rock on, baby. Obviously, 2 great signings. Hopefully, fingers crossed for a third. And with that said, let's go Saturday and let's get ourselves some 3 points in the Azteca.
That's right. 3 points at home, and it's going to be a great season. I have the feeling.
Alrighty, well, 2018 is here. It's now, and let's not waste our opportunities that we do get. Well, I'd like to thank you, Dylan. Thank you for taking the time coming out onto the show, as always, bringing your energy, and just absolutely amazing to have you on the show.
My pleasure, man. Thanks for having me all the time.
Alrighty, well, every single one of you guys who have tuned in to listen to us, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you for helping us grow this journey and growing the community. And we will be back next Tuesday for you guys to, maybe tune in and listen and learn a little bit something new. So we'll see you guys on the next show. Make sure you guys follow us on Twitter. We will have a constant feed going on. And like I said, hopefully, fingers crossed for a good result this Saturday against Pachuca that, could mean 6 points on the table. So, thank you again, Dylan, for coming on. Thank every single one of you guys, and until next time, guys, take care.